Hello, welcome back to my channel, It World Aspire. And today we are going to talk about the reign of Henry VIII. So, before we talk about the Henry VIII, we need to know little bit about his family. That is, his family tree, King Henry VII family tree. So, we come to the first slide. We are going to see there. Henry VII belonged to Lancaster Rose family and he got married to Elizabeth. She belongs to White York Rose family. Lancaster Rose and White York Rose people were both fought for the War of Roses. So King Henry VII married to Elizabeth, that is the White York Rose. They both found a new Tudor rose. So at that time, Henry VII had his first son, that is Arthur. They have 4 children: Arthur, Margaret, Henry VIII, and Mary. So Arthur was the eldest son of King Henry VII of England, and his marriage was planned before his 3rd birthday begins. So Arthur got married at the age of 11 and he was formally betrothed to Catherine of Aragon, who is a powerful daughter of Catholic monarch in Spain. Soon after their marriage between Arthur and Catherine of Aragon in 1501, the couple took up their residence in Ludlow Castle in Shropshire, where Arthur died 6 months later on 2nd April 1502. So it gets very much upset for his father because eldest son who is going to rule his England was died. So after 1 year, he wants to find some consolation for death of his son. So he finds the renewed efforts to seal a marital alliance with Spain to arrange again Catherine of Aragon to marry his younger son, that is Henry, who will ascend to the throne in 1509 as a King Henry VIII. Henry VIII ruled England from 1509 to 1547. So during his period from 1509 to 1547, what are all the things have been happened and how he got married to one or the other, and who helps them for the dissolution of monasteries, which queen insisted to dissolve all the monasteries in England, and how the church has been divided, how diverse has become very passion there. So we need to know something about Henry VIII. So next slide we are going to talk about Henry VIII, who is the second son of Henry VII. He was only 17 years of age when he became a king in 1509. He was 6 feet 2 inches tall with a pale skin. He was very good in athletics, man of action, enjoyed all kinds of sports, that is hunting, jousting, tennis, riding, everything. Not only that, he was also a musician. He played a flute, lute, and he wrote several poetries also. He is a very good enthusiastic reader or a ferocious reader. He has his own library in his palace. It consists of almost 1,000 books. He wrote a treatise against the Protestant Martin Luther. For that he was rewarded the title Defender of Faith, which was given by the Pope Leo X. So he was multi-talented person. He looks very good, handsome. So as his father's wish, he married the Catherine of Aragon in 1509. So he is the first wife of Henry VIII. But already she is the wife of his elder brother Arthur. So Catherine, we need to know something about her. She belongs to Spain, we know already. She was the daughter of Isabella I and Ferdinand II of Aragon. She was betrothed to Prince Arthur when she was 3 years old. They got married in 1501, but Arthur died 5 months later. After Arthur's death, Catherine held his position of ambassador to England in 1507. She was the first female ambassador in the European history. She married to Arthur's younger brother Henry VIII in 1509. In 1513, she served as regent of England while Henry VIII was in prince. Regent means they have not taken any proper decision who is going to be a next king. So that is regent. So during that time, English defended Scottish invasion at the Battle of Flodden. So there was a battle between Kingdom of England and the Kingdom of Scotland. So for this war, Catherine gave a wonderful speech. She gave a wonderful speech. She has given an emotional speech about courage and patriotism for the people who is going to fight in the battle to the Kingdom of England. That speech makes them to win the battle. That is the Battle of Flodden, which was fought between Kingdom of England and Kingdom of Scotland in 1513. The battle took place near Branxton in the country of Northumberland, that is northern England. Scottish army was under King James IV and the English army was under Earl of Surrey. It was the largest battle which ever fought between the two kingdoms. In that battle, we find the Scottish army lost their battle and King James IV was killed. Catherine, in her 20 years of her married life, she has given birth to the daughter Mary to Henry VIII. And now she has become old, that is 40 years old woman. She doesn't want to bear any more children. So at that time, there was no establishment predicament for a woman on the throne. So Henry decided to divorce Catherine of Aragon, but Pope Clement VII refused to annul the marriage between them. So Henry decided that he wanted to defend the Pope by assuming supremacy over religious matter. As we see in the dissolution of monastery essay, act of supremacy has been begun. So he started that. In 1533, their marriage was consequently declared as invalid. So Catherine refused to accept Henry VIII as a supreme head of Church of England. So Henry VIII acknowledged Catherine as a dowager. Dowager means widow, because Before she marries to Henry VIII, she is a widow. She was banished from his court and she lived at Campbellton Castle. She had many maids also. That maids later became the wives of Henry VIII. So we will see all these things. So she died of cancer in 1536. This is the history of the Catherine of Aragon, that is the first wife. So Henry decided to marry another woman because he needed a male heir for his throne. So she marries the second wife, that is Anne Boleyn. Anne Boleyn has been a queen from 1533 to 1536 to the England. She was the daughter of Thomas Boleyn and Elizabeth Howard. Before marrying to Henry VIII, in 1522 she married the Irish cousin James Butler. She thought of marrying that man, but the marriage was broken. Instead, she secured a post at court as a maid to Catherine of Aragon, that is Henry's first wife. In 1523, Anne Boleyn and Henry VIII, in 1523, Anne Boleyn was secretly betrothed to Henry Percy, but it was also broken off while Earl refused to support their engagement. In 1524, Anne was sent to Haworth Castle, that is the castle which belongs to Boleyn family. Anne's elder sister, Mary Boleyn, was also one of a mistress of Henry VIII for a long time. Even they had two children. There were reference that Henry VIII and Mary Boleyn had two children. She bore two children, but it was not acknowledged by Henry VIII in anywhere. So later, Mary also mistress to the King Francis I, who was rival to Henry VIII. Mary Boleyn married two times in 1502 to William Carey, and second marriage was done secretly in 1534 to William Stafford, a soldier from very good family. Her secret marriage was angered both Henry VIII and her sister Anne, and this resulted Mary to banish from the royal court. She died 7 years later. Anne was made to Queen Catherine of Aragon. Anne Boleyn refused to marry Henry VIII as her sister became his mistress. Pope Clement VII refused for divorce. So Henry and his advisor Thomas Cromwell began the breaking of church power in England and closing the monasteries and nunneries in the England. So in 1532, we see Henry made Anne the Marquess of Pembroke. Henry and Anne formally they were married on 25th January 1533, but already they have secret wedding on 14th November 1532. Before her marriage, she was pregnant. Thomas Cranmer becomes a leader of Reformation. Now he was Archbishop of Canterbury. Thomas Cranmer declared Henry and Catherine's marriage was null. After 5 days, he declared Henry and Anne's marriage was valid. As a result of this marriage, the first break between Church of England and Catholic Church. Henry took the entire control of Church of England in his hand. As we have seen before, while he wanted to get divorced from Catherine, he has broken the rules. He is the head of the Church of England. In the second marriage, we can see he has taken the entire control of Church of England in his hand. Then Anne was crowned as a Queen of England on 1st June 1533, and she gave birth to a girl child, that is Elizabeth I, in 7th September. Henry was disappointed to have a daughter rather than a son. As we all know that already, I have told you that to have a male heir, he got divorced and he had married another woman. But Anne subsequently had 3 miscarriages. That means Henry to end of their marriage, and he needs to find some reason to end up with Anne. She was arrested and sent to Tower of London, and she was charged against adultery. She was beheaded after 4 days on May 15th, 1536. First wife was divorced and the second wife was beheaded. Listen it very carefully. And now we are going to talk about his third wife, that is Jane Seymour. She had a little things which was happened during Jane Moore as a wife. She was a daughter of Sir John Seymour and Margaret Wentworth. She was also a maid to the Queen Catherine of Aragon. After Anne's execution, Henry married Jane on 30th May 1536. See, May 15th of 1536, Anne got executed. After 15 days, Henry married Jane, and she was the third Queen of England. In 1537, Jane Seymour have given birth to a male heir, that is a future king. His name is Edward VI in 1537. She died of postnatal complications 2 weeks after the birth of the child. She was the only wife of Henry to receive a queen's funeral. Catherine of Aragon, though she was married in a proper manner, she has not given any queen's funeral. Anne, she has committed adultery, so she was executed. Only the Jane received the queen's funeral. Then again, this is not the end of Henry VIII. Then he has another wife, which was arranged by the famous person Thomas Cromwell, the great advisor, friend of Henry VIII. He had a 4th marriage to Anne of Cleves. She is a German Protestant prince, but she was not that much good looking. Actually, this is a political match which was arranged by Thomas Cromwell to Henry VIII. That is, 2 non-Catholic countries have joined together. So on the first meeting of Anne of Cleves, Henry VIII took an immediate decision. She does not like her. But both the political parties were happy, and they arranged the marriage in 1540. After 6 months of their marriage was declared unconsummated, and she was not crowned as Queen of England. So Henry granted a generous income and several homes including the Anne Boleyn's castle, that is Haver Castle. Haver Castle, which belongs to Anne Boleyn's family castle. He granted everything for her because she remained in England and was a frequent visitor to the court as a honored guest. She enjoyed her independent lifestyle. So he doesn't have any fighting between the king. This was not the end. Again he goes with the fifth wife, that is Catherine of Howard, because he had a one male heir, that is Edward VI. He wants the second male heir to secure the succession. So Henry had an eye on Catherine Howard, who looks pretty. She is none other than the cousin of Anne Boleyn, and she is the niece to Thomas Howard. Thomas Howard was a prominent politician at Henry's court. Again in 1540, he married Catherine Howard as a fifth wife, and they had a separate palace, Auckland's Palace. It happens just 19 days after the annulment of the marriage with Anne of Cleves. Catherine Howard was titled as queen in 1541, and she was beheaded 3 months later their marriage because she has committed adultery with her distant cousin Thomas Culper. After her execution, Henry was in deep depression that Anne of Cleves, she is not good looking. He doesn't want to be with her. Jane Seymour, she has passed away. She has given birth to a male heir. Catherine of Aragon, she also died. She has given birth to only a female child. Anne, female child. From the fourth wife, he doesn't have any child. In the fifth, just after the 3 months of their marriage, she committed adultery and she was executed as Anne Boleyn. Then he has his last wife, that is sixth wife, who is very talented girl, that is Catherine Parr. Already she was twice widowed and has a relationship between Thomas Seymour. Thomas Seymour is a brother of Jane Seymour, his third wife. Catherine Parr was 31 years old. She was very educated, intelligent, fluent in French, learned Latin, read and write everything. As we see in the beginning slide, Henry VIII was a very intelligent person who was a multi-talented in sports, all the sports. He writes poetry. He has written something against the Protestant reformist, and she was titled as Defender of Faith. So the same character here, Catherine Parr, was also a very good writer. She was a reformist and she loved to debate religious questions. She is the only woman an English queen with 4 husbands. Wonderful history. She had a close relationship with Henry's 3 children, that is Mary, Elizabeth and Edward VI. She got married to Henry on 12th July 1543. She could speak intelligently with visiting ambassadors and scholars in her palace in England. As Henry saw all these things, he had his own faith on her. So he named her regent when he departed in 1544 on another invention of France. So Henry told her, in case if he lost his life in a battle, she wants to be regent until Edward came of age. So in 1544, what happened is Henry has in 1544, Catherine Parr published her first book, Prayers, or it called as Meditations. She published under her own name. At that time, Henry was horse-shouldered in his tournament and his legs has been crippled. He was in deathbed. His legs has a leg ulcer. He has a leg ulcer. He can't able to do any exercise. Once upon a time, he is a very athletic sportsman, but now no longer. Then he died on 20th January 1547. As he was buried next to his third wife, that is Jane Seymour, in St. George Chapel at Windsor Castle. Because Jane Seymour is the third wife, but she has given a male heir to his throne. So that's why he was buried next to her. She was allowed to keep, Catherine Parr was allowed to keep all the queen's jewels, and she dressed as a queen. After the death of Henry VIII, 6 months later, she married to her fourth husband, Thomas Seymour. This is the reign period of Henry VIII. So finally, we will see the family tree of Henry VIII. So Henry VIII has 6 wives: Catherine of Aragon, Anne Boleyn, Jane Seymour, Anne of Cleves, Catherine Howard, and Catherine Parr. In this, only 3 has children. Catherine of Aragon had a female heir, Mary. Anne Boleyn as Elizabeth I. Jane Seymour had Edward VI. This is the entire ruling period of Henry VIII. So last thing I want to say is Jane Seymour, his third wife, who insisted Henry VIII to dissolve all the monasteries. Then the dissolution of monasteries has been started. That's what we seen in the previous video, that is the dissolution of monastery, how it happened and what all the things have been taken place, social effects which has been done and everything. Thank you for watching it.